Good day, my name is Ekanem. I'm the artist and innovator in residence at the Halifax Public Libraries. And over this series of videos, I'll be working with you to create your podcast. So we've gone through story, we've gone through what a podcast is. You have Anchor and, created some episodes. In this video, we'll be talking about distributing and marketing. And distributing is essentially sending out your finished product to the world. Remember, every time I kept saying, create an episode, but don't publish it. Yeah, publishing it is when you're distributing it. With creating a podcast, we've defined the concept. We know what the format of a podcast is, and of course, we recorded it on Anchor or in the library. And once we're done with that, we need to send it out to the world. On Anchor, which, hopefully you have it on your phone or your computer, is as simple as clicking publish. Because once you publish it, it distributes it to Spotify, which they own, and Apple, iTunes, and all the other different podcasting directories. Some of the podcasting directories that are out there include iTunes and Spotify and Stitcher, and YouTube is now getting into podcasting. There's Pocket Cast, there's iHeartRadio, and even SoundCloud has some podcasting too. So the thing is, and there's so many all over the world. When you go to your podcast host, so like a podcast host, for instance, I use is Captivate AM. They have a distribution hub. And when you go on that page, you can see all the many directories that you can send your podcast to. Once you've created it, it's time to market it. So remember, we created a trailer in one of the videos. Now, when you are releasing your podcast, say, your podcast is coming out in 2 weeks or a month, you want to send out your trailer, you want to plan it out so people know this thing is coming, they know when it's coming, they know when to expect it. And that is what marketing is. Marketing is basically building a strategy and using tactics that it's all geared about making your audience aware of your podcast and basically that this thing you've created exists, which you don't want to create your podcast and no one hears it, right? You want to get people excited about this thing. So some of the tips when it comes to marketing your podcast, it actually starts with the episode. So you have to create awesome content. Make sure you sound good, make sure you're audible, make sure you are getting your points across. Because no matter how much you spend it, even if you get people listening or tuning in, they might tune out after a few minutes because there's so much entertainment or so many other options they can get. So you want to make sure your content is awesome. And then start with your family and friends, right? You just tell your friends, I took this course or I did this thing with the library and, I created my podcast and here it is. So go on this link. It's going to come out in 2 weeks, so be sure to listen to it. And on the day it releases, remind them to check it out. It's easier sending a link. And if you're on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, you can also use social media to promote it. Ideally, you should get a social media for your podcast, but you can just use your own personal social media. Share a link, create a little photo. You can use Canva or the cover art that you created in Anchor, put it on your Instagram, put the link there. You can use apps like Linktree. They will give a link, people click there and then get to check out your podcast. And you can also share your podcast on YouTube because like I said, YouTube is getting into podcasting now. Or you can also share elements of your podcast, so like your trailer or just a clip from that episode that you feel is interesting and will get more people to tune in. You can share that on YouTube. You can do a giveaway. I love giveaways. I do some myself and I always follow. So basically, listen and like or have like a t-shirt or a flask or something that you can give away to people that listen based on rules that you decide. And you can also contact groups online. So people in that group are already interested in that thing you're doing. So you're saying, hey, you know John Wick? Well, I have a podcast that's just about John Wick and what it's about. Check it out. They're already interested in it. And then another thing you can do to promote your podcast is to be a guest on other podcasts. There are so many podcasts and podcasters in the city. People are always looking for guests. Reach out to them and then go be on their show. And the one that, this is when you've started making some income from your podcast is paid ads. So there are companies where you can pay and promote your ads. One of the best is Overcast. So they have an app and then you pay a certain amount and then they actually tell you how many impressions you can get based on how much you paid. It isn't cheap, but it is a good way to get your marketing out there. So for the 10 things for this episode, I kind of hinted, I'm going to share 10 podcasting directories. We have Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Listen Notes. And those are 10 directories that you can check out. And whenever you publish your podcast episode, make sure they are on all those places. And for the quote that I want to share today is about taking action. We've learned this thing over the last couple of weeks. To actually get the podcast out there, you have to take action. And Randa Abdel Fattah said, belief means nothing without action. So make sure you're taking action. Talking about action, the assignment is basically record an episode of your podcast on Anchor, but don't publish it. Write a description for that episode, and then create an Apple Podcast Connects account and create a Spotify Podcasters account. And of course, if you need any help, you can email me, israel@lessonsoftheking.com, and check out the website for when I'll be at what branch in the library, and I'll be happy to help you. Thanks for sticking out. I'll see you in the next video.